Kickoff 2022, here we are again in the well-known team, Julian, Jens, and of course myself, Daniela. And today we would like to share with you the upcoming schedule for our pop-up series. And of course we're going to answer all the questions that you have sent in. But if you have more, send them to the chat. And we're going to talk about this following to our calendar that we would like to introduce you now. So let's get started and talk about what will be the topics for this year's pop-up sessions. And of course we're going to start out in March with a very interesting topic. What I think we're going to talk about norm roast. So what is norm roast and anything special about this? Of course we're going to have a very special guest, and maybe is one of you want to say something more about the norm roast? What is it and who's going to come?
Yes, let me say something about this. So in this session, this will be very interesting, I think. Marco Luther is going to visit us. He's from Artisan, and in this session it's all about finding a standard setup, for example, for emission levels and energy consumption and so on. So yeah, during a roasting process, and in this session Marco will tell us something about the project and what is his idea behind this project.
Okay, so this will be topic for March, and then we move on to April, and in April we're going to talk about the different possibilities you have to customize your machine, and not only in terms of technical features that you can add, but also, Jens, in terms of?
In terms of color, the design of the design parts, the handles, whether it's oak or mahogany or different types of wood. So not every roaster is black, and we would like to show you what are the options, what are the possibilities to adapt the roaster according to your customer design, so to your corporate design, that it fits into your roastery, into your marketing materials and all these things.
Yeah, cool. Yeah. Looking forward to see all the different color versions that are already on the market. So moving on to May. May gonna be a little bit different. We're not gonna stream from here. I mean, you know our showroom by now. In May, we're gonna take you with us to the Roasting Championship of Germany, and they will take place in Münster at the Röstbar Kaffee Campus. And we're gonna be live when they're gonna roast, when they're gonna have the finals, and we're just gonna show you what is all coming with this event, and probably also what do you have to do if you would like to participate, if German based. So also here, this is gonna be quite an interesting session, meeting a lot of different roasters, having of course a lot of different ideas when it comes to roasting, and we're gonna talk about the championship itself. What all needs to be done to being able to become a roasting champion. So yeah, also here, looking much forward to this session, and yeah, taking you guys with us and giving you an impression on this. Yeah, next month will be June, and in June there is something very special coming. So this
yes.
should be one marker in your calendar that you should put.
Yeah, we are going to show you some nice insight of our 1 kilo roaster, and yeah, we have got one more special thing for you we are going to talk about. So this will be a very nice and good session. So yeah, let's see what we can show you during this session. So yeah.
So it's a secret what will be coming. So.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So yeah, getting excited about this one as well. And yeah, if after that we're gonna have a short summer break. Usually in the summertime, a lot of people are on vacation. So also here for us, this is the time where we say, okay, we're gonna have a short break. But of course, after that, we're gonna be there for you again. have some more exciting topics to come. And whenever you say that might be something interesting for you and you want to have this event in your calendar, just go ahead, move to our webpage to the events, and then you can filter all the events that you might want to watch, and just go ahead and set the marker so you have the event in your calendar and get a reminder to not miss this event. Talking about everything that's going to be coming after the summer break, there will be one very interesting session where we actually hand over a new roaster and show you the commissioning of this roaster. I think this will be, of course, then something that will be done, of course, at customer side, and just give you a short insight of what do you have to think of before the machine is coming, what has to be ready when the machine is actually there, and how it actually works when the machine comes. The session following to this one will be a session in September where we're going to have an insight in a lot of different things coming and happening here at ProBat. So also this session might be very interesting to watch. So I would set a marker here.
And directly into the machine, and we are going to talk about the roaster physics. So this will be quite interesting.
That will be also, just also covering a lot of probably a little bit nerdy topics, so that everybody that has a very specific question when it comes to heat transfer and so on, they are all invited, and then just ask whatever comes into your mind to our team that will be leading through the session. So it's going to be quite some interesting stuff there. Recipe transfer. That also will be quite some interesting topics to talk about, because this is usually the questions we get when we talk about different sizes of roaster and how to transfer a recipe from a smaller machine to a bigger machine. And also here, of course, we're going to talk probably about things we've already spoken about, but nevertheless, it's always good to have a short repetition to just get some refreshing of the knowledge, and just see what's going on at this point, and then have a special topic on this one again.
Yeah, exactly. It's a kind of follow-up on the physics session, because you have to understand the physics to be able to transfer the recipes.
Yes. Yeah. As it's not just transferring, but more or less translating, because you cannot just take it one-to-one. And true. What else is on the list? We're going to talk one more time about the electrical roasting and the gas roasting, which in my eyes is also very important, as we kind of have to get everybody into that electrical gas topic again, as the electrical machine is so flexible, and nowadays still we have some people kind of not really believing that it could be as flexible as a gas roaster, and we think that we should show you that one more time and just have some specials going on here to let you know it's actually possible when you've been roasting on gas before to switch to electrical machine. So it's also here some great stuff to come, some good things to see. And then we're already at the end of the year, if I'm not mistaken. And also here, this would be quite some cool things to see as well, because we're going to follow up the construction of a roaster, right? So also here we're going to have a look into production and just show you how this roaster is actually built, so that you can see from the first screw they drew in to what will be the result at the end. And also here we're going to actually see how this beauty is build up and come into life.
Yeah, it will be a virtual tour, let me say, and you can be part of it. So as Daniela already said, it will be interesting.
As some of you possibly know, we are currently updating our facilities, so there will be a new production space for the shop process as well. So in this session we will show you how it looks then, not today, but then.
Yeah, pretty cool. And of course, whenever you have probably an idea that you would like to share, or if you have a topic that you would like us to talk about in our sessions, go ahead and let us know what this is. We might not going to be able to fit it all into this year's schedule, but of course we would like to go on with this digital format. So whenever you say this would be great to know about, or there would have to get some more insights, we can just get it all together and then maybe add it this year, or maybe keep it for the next year, so that we always have some topics for our sessions to come. And as already said before, don't forget to put the marker into your calendar so that you're always right on time when this session will actually be streamed. Yeah, I think that's more about it for the calendar for the year 2022, what will be actually all on the program. And yeah, just a few days ago, we asked you to send us in all the questions that you have concerning roasting, concerning machine, concerning whatsoever. And you actually did quite well. So Julian, we have some questions that came in before via Instagram and Facebook and all the channels we are actually streaming on. So yeah, I would say we're just gonna get started with the questions.
Yeah, of course, let's start. So the first question is, what bench height would you recommend for a Probertone 1 kilo roaster?
I suppose it's batch size, and it's the nominal capacity is 1 kilo.
Yeah.
But you can do everything between 750 grams to 1.2 kilo.
Yeah.
The nice thing with the 1.2 kilo, usually if you have a shrinkage of 16, 17, 18%, if you go for 1.2 kilogram green coffee, you will get approximately 1 kilo out. So this is good for the packaging.
Yeah.
Okay, very good. The next question is, what changes in your roasting do you make to roast different amounts?
Okay, yeah, if we talk different batch sizes, of course, we need to think about a lot of different parameters that needs to be adjusted. So in the beginning, of course, we need to adjust our dropping temperature when the green beans go inside the machine. And also here, as we want to bring with smaller batch sizes less energy to the product, you also need to think about your burner setting. And probably if you're a fan of this, you can also adjust the drum speed when roasting smaller batches. So there's a lot of different parameters that could be adjusted. The problem here is the development of aroma in that smaller batch. It really depends on how small it is comparing to the best capacity that you can roast. Comparing outcome in aroma could be a bit tricky depending on how small this machine is, depending on how the energy intake happens. So if there's more that you might want to know, and if you have a special batch size in mind, please contact me directly, and then we can just talk about this a little bit more in detail.
All right, and then there are two questions which are in the same direction. The first one is, what is the biggest batch size you can roast consistently on the new 12 kilo roaster? And Casa is telling us that they are currently doing 3.5 kilo on a P5-2. So what is the biggest batch size we can roast on the 12 kilo roaster? I think we tested the biggest one was 15 kilograms, and you can see it also on our website, in the technical data and so on. So the biggest batch size is 15 kilograms.
To still be constant, in results.
The other question is, what is the recommended batch size on a 12 kilo roaster?
Same, no.
I suppose it's...
I know the answer.
Okay.
So I know the start of the answer. It will start with, it depends. Let's see.
It depends. No, of course, the best batch size would always be optimum filling 12 kg. Yeah. But if you say, well, my recipe or my customers, they're just a little bit less than for me roasting all the time 12 kg, then you could lower the batch size. You could roast easily 10 or 8.5 kilogram. Of course, always having in mind that probably your aroma might be changing a little bit, but will that little bit be tasted by the customer? Maybe not, but this is something that needs to be tested. And of course, keep in mind to keep your roasting color, your roasting time the same, even if the batch size is smaller, because you want to have the same outcome in aroma. And I'm not getting tired of saying it. If you want to roast smaller, if you want to roast 3 kilo on a 12, it works. Technically, it's possible. But of course, also here, a lot of changes in parameter and different outcome in aroma.
Even 1 kilo is possible.
I know.
So our our roasters are very flexible. So you can see it also in the, as I already said, on the technical data page on our website. So our roasters are very, very flexible. So this is possible, yeah.
And it depends.
Yeah.
So it depends on what's the desired roasting time.
Yeah.
So if you are looking for very quick roasting time, let's say 8.5 minutes, and then coffee out, then it might be that you have to reduce the nominal batch capacity. So not 12, but 10 in a P12. But usually the roasters are designed to cope with the nominal batch capacity that we name it.
Yeah. And also here, of course, it's always important that you see the flow of the roasting curve. And if with very small batches you need to lower your burner that much that your roasting curve at the ends become very flat and you almost have no more rising of temperature, then of course this will have a high impact on the outcome in aroma. And this is always something that you need to know before. What is it actually for? Why are you doing it? Is it just for sampling, for you to know about the flavor that's probably in your coffee, or is it directly for production? So for production, I would not recommend to roast those very small batches. Yeah. But for sampling, why not?
I have a brief question to our tech guys. Simon, Philip, Facebook is running because I have no access to the chat.
But while you check this, maybe we can already have a look at the next question.
Yes, of course, of course. The next question is, what's the time and the heat to start operation roasting?
Yeah, preheating of your roaster. Very interesting question, very different techniques behind that. You could, of course, if you have, let's say, no time to really roast, and you need to heat up your machine quickly, the roaster will be ready in like 10-15 minutes to actually roast. But the roaster is of course not completely heated through and through. The drum might be not heated through and through, also the shovel system. And the difference of your first batch to the next coming batches will be very big. So if you take your time in preheating your machine, let's say give it like 40 minutes up to an hour, and you just go up with your burner slowly and heat your machine up slowly, then this will be, of course, the better idea to keep the differences between first batch and the following batches as small as possible. Still, difference will be there. And the right temperature to start with is, of course, depending on your roasting start temperature. So what a lot of people do is they heat up the machine to approximately 230, and then they drop back again to 180, and then they heat up to 220, and they drop again to 180, and then with the next heating up, probably 200 or 210, whatever is your desired starting temperature, then they're gonna start roasting. So allow it some good time to heat completely through and through, and then roast. If you need to do it different because you're having a time problem, this could be done as well, but always have in mind that first batch then will be quite different than the rest.
So, in fact, both is possible. You can do it as quickly as possible, or you can give it more time to be more consistent from batch 1 or batch 2 on.
Exactly.
And if you have the time, for example, it's your starting routine, you come to your place and then you switch on the roaster, you can store a kind of recipe, a preheating recipe, so that preheating always takes part in the same way.
Yeah.
So, for example, as Daniela said, we start with 80%, then we lower the burner capacity step by step, so that at least the roaster after, let's say, half an hour should be more or less in the same status as the day before.
Yeah. Okay. During that time, you can just weigh up your coffee for all the batches, or probably pack what you have from the day before. So there's a lot of different possibilities.
All right. The next question is often discussed, and we also discussed about this last year in one of the pop-up sessions. And it's in the direction espresso, team single origin or team blend. What do you prefer?
team blend before roasting or team blend after roasting.
Or even team blend after grinding.
Ooh.
Don't make it too complicated. No. Sorry.
Also here, answer would be just very wide. So depending on the green beans you have, depending on the drinking habits, depending on the liking of the aroma, a single espresso could be as same as perfect like a blend.
Yeah.
It's always really depending on what you're looking for. And also here, if there's more questions to it or if you need more insights, I would recommend just go ahead and watch the session again we had on this. And if there's special questions because you have already some special ideas in mind, just send us an email and then we can talk about it a little bit more, probably what to blend and what percentage, or maybe blending Arabica, Robusta. All of this could be discussed even in more detail, but I think this needs a whole session like what we did last year. So
yeah. Okay, and then we got even more questions, and we prepared a second slide for you. And the first question of the second slide is in the same direction. So, team Omni-roast filter, or no Omni-roasting. We had a session about this topic also last year. So what's your favorite?
It depends.
Now here I really have to say, as you never know who will be behind the espresso machine or who will be preparing the filter. You really need to have a very good barista if you do omni-roasting and you assume to get the best out for all the preparation methods. So for me personally, I don't like the omni-roast idea, not because it's not working, but because the effort after the roasting is quite big, and you have to trust your people in your coffee shop that they always do it right. But also here, this I remember was the last session last year that we did in December. So if you want to know more, just re-watch the session, go back to it, or we can also send you the link to this session, and you can get a lot of different opinions on the Omni-roast topic as well. Cool.
Would you recommend the cigarette lighter test when adjusting airflow?
Not if I would have different options to check my negative pressure inside the machine. So firstly, of course, especially with the new P3 series, we have the possibility to let the vacuum show to us. So this would be, of course, the easiest way to adjust the airflow. And if you have an older model, you can also go ahead and adjust a measuring device for the negative pressure. And if all of this is not possible, then we could do the cigarette lighter test. But of course, in the beginning, when you start roasting with no product, with no burner on, just the rotation of the drum and the suction of the ventilation for the airflow, so that you don't have any risk at all that something happens. That would be my answer to this question.
Okay, and then the next one of El Purica Coffee is greetings first. Hi, Daniela. Would you recommend start with lower temperatures when roasting natural processed coffees?
Yeah, the processing method is just only one thing. Also here, there's more things coming into mind. If this natural processed bean is, of course, probably a little bit smaller or has less moisture or is a little bit less dense than your washed coffees, then you could start with lower dropping temperatures for the greens into the roaster. But if for the rest of the characteristics of the green, they have more or less the same density, more or less the same moisture content, and more or less the same size like the washed ones, then for me the difference between natural and washed coffees is not so big. So there's more things that have to be taken into consideration when thinking of using different dropping temperatures, not only the processing method.
Okay, and we got even more questions on the third question slide. And also greetings, hi Daniela, just booked a P12-3. Can you cover topics on using VFD and small batch coffees?
yeah, not as simply and short as the asking person is might looking for. Yeah, of course. A lot of people, what they do is when they like to roast small batches, they like to adjust the drum speed. But also here we need to look out how small is this small batch, and what will be the difference in terms of how will the beans be thrown through the hot air stream inside the machine. So also here the combination of airflow and also the combination of drum speed in terms of how is my burner set up. This is all being seen all together. So it's not just only making drum go faster or slower, making the air go faster or slower, it also has an impact on how is my burner set up. So also this might be a topic that needs to be discussed with more details that we know so that we can give a more precise answer to this. There's a lot of different ways you can look at it, and also what I'm always saying in the beginning, when you start roasting and you try to keep things simple, before we did not have the drum speed adjustment, and also here we roasted smaller batch sizes at the same speed. So also this could be an option to first test that out, and if you then feel that there's something missing, you can still go ahead and adjust your drum speed. But of course you need to know what are you looking for in terms of flavor, in terms of outcome and aroma, and then we could speak about adjusting all of those parameters, and if only one parameter at a time, because otherwise you don't know where this changed aroma comes from.
Otherwise you have a great cup of coffee and
you have no idea why.
You're then thinking about, wow, was it now
was it the burner?
10% more or less drum speed, or 10% more or less burner setting? So this is something that I always try to explain to potential clients, that it's of course nice to have different parameters to have an impact on the roasting profile, but in fact you have to understand each parameter for itself and the impact that the different parameters do have on each other to really make a benefit of it.
Yeah, might be a question for our nerdy session.
Yeah, this is a good question. Yeah.
So please reserve at least 2 hours time for the nerdy session.
Oh yes.
And last year we had a great pop-up session, and the topic was service. And the question is also in this direction. I want to know how to clean a drum of a ProBud machine. Is there do you have to clean the drum of a ProBud machine, or is it not necessary?
If you only roast coffee, I would say there is maybe if you roast how do you say bio coffee?
Organic.
Organic.
So in fact, there's no need to clean the drum, because the only thing that you might get after a certain period of time, after usage of the roaster, you might have a certain layer of oil, coffee oils, which are somehow burned or stick to the walls. But as soon as these deposits get loose, they will be sucked away with the airflow, so no impact on the product. And we are still talking about coffee oils and coffee beans, so there's no need to clean something.
Yeah, in fact, people are actually looking for that seasoning.
Yes,
of the
some are looking
drum.
for the seasoning. Exactly. They try to get to some batches of not that good quality coffee to roast it far behind second crack by purpose. What Daniela mentioned, if you are producing both conventional, so normal coffee and organic coffee, it might be that a cleaning is needed. That's dependent on how strict the regulations are to produce organic coffee, whether you would like to have the label or whether you are just producing organic coffee, though that's the difference. And a cleaning might be necessary as soon as we are talking about non-coffee products.
Yeah.
For example, nuts.
Yeah, and this even becomes more and more interesting as more and more people react highly allergical on any nut-related product. So if you're looking for to roast nuts in the roaster, of course, first let us know. That would be amazing. And secondly, here we need to make sure if you do so, it needs to be mentioned on the package, because it could always happen that there's a slight small piece of that skin of the nuts or just a nut skin in your coffee product. And this is something which, of course, could result in high allergic reaction for some people. And this is definitely not what we want.
Okay.
So, and how to clean?
Yeah, how to clean? Yeah,
you have to clean.
Yeah, how to
clean?
clean? That was the question. Yeah.
The easiest way is to just dismount the flap,
okay,
the discharging flap, and then you can with a stick and a woolen whatever part.
So quite easy.
Or you have a cleaning badge.
So there's no need to dismount the complete front wall and take the drum out. So that
put it in the dishwasher.
I think the drum's too heavy. Yeah. All right, the next one. Up to how many degrees the coffee can be roasted? I think the question is the maximum degree, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, if I would be very mean, I would say it could be roasted up to 250 degrees. And then the burner will shut off. But of course, the reaction in the coffee goes on further. If we are talking about what end temperature you might look for in terms of having different results, this also depends on the age of the machine, on the size of the machine, and of course also what color are we looking for. So we had customers also, and we have been roasting up to 248 degrees, which is like 2 degrees before the burner will shut off.
Okay.
And this was already really tricky because the coffee was way in second crack, was super oily, super dark, and you kind of risk all the time that your burner shuts off, and of course all the time that something goes on with your coffee which you don't want. So I would not recommend this. But if you roast for dark espresso probably, then you have end temperatures of easily 228, 232. So it can go up quite high, but in this case make sure that you look at the coffee sample all the time, that you listen to the coffee and that you get it out right on spot, because at the end the development goes so fast that
I did 248 degrees once.
Okay.
Yeah, it's
Do you remember the color?
So measured with the color red was 50.
Must be
52, 53, something around this.
This is really dark.
And just to try to translate the color, second crack is around 80.
Yeah, 84, 80.
And the smaller the number is, the darker the coffee.
Yeah.
So this is quite dark.
So in REL code, I would say it's 9005. So that's tief schwarz, deep black. That's the color of the machine.
I wanted to say it's like the silo unit behind you.
Exactly. That's kind of silo color.
It makes you a little bit nervous when you have that temperature.
Indeed. I directly went home afterwards.
Yeah.
Felt a little bit.
So hopefully this answers the question. If not, let us know what you probably actually mean by that. Different roasting degrees, different end temperatures, and we'll talk about that some more.
Yes, and how long does the coffee stay in the cooling outlet? Is there a kind of recommendation?
Cooling takes approximately 3 minutes to cool it down from final roasting temperature to room temperature, ambient temperature, and then usually it's done. So then you can easily drop it to a box or container or
destoner or whatever.
Okay. When will there be a roaster where you choose the roast degree and roaster does it automatically? That's on question slide 4.
I hope never, because it's not only the roasting degree that you need to tell the software to be able to decide when it's done, but it's also the roasting time, the green bean type, the amount of coffee that's inside, the desired roasting curve. So there's a lot of more things with that. So only telling the roaster I want this coffee to be an 84 dark roast will not be enough the machine to know what to do with this coffee. So I think our software now is actually already giving so many opportunities to make it easier to roast on automatic mode, but just giving it a certain number. Also here, the numbers of the coloring measuring devices, they are so different as the scales are not all the same. So yeah, I guess this will not be around soon.
Okay.
But of course, software systems are getting
better,
more and more somehow intelligent.
Yeah.
So it's possible to train the
yeah, but still you would need to let it know what's
still
inside.
You would need at least somebody who has a certain knowledge of coffee roasting, who's able to say, okay, a good roast will be 13.5 minutes, and this is the final color, and then possibly the roaster will be able to do everything in between by itself.
Yeah.
But somebody has to say what is a good
what's
roast?
The timing? What's
a good timing?
Yeah, the idea is quite nice, and the idea, for example, also to draw a curve first and then to start
follow it up.
Yeah, and then to start the roaster, and this is a nice idea, but
let's see where we're going to be in a few years.
Yeah, let's see. Exactly. And then there is one question. I need one 15 kilo batch fast.
Yeah.
There is no specific question.
Could go into two directions, I guess. Could mean that someone would like to roast that 15 kilo batch in a fast way. So here, of course, we need to talk about the parameters of the coffee. What should it be? What is fast? Because fast is not only fast in that. It could be 8 minutes for one person, could be 12 minutes for another person. But on the other hand, this question could also be interpreted as he needs the machine
fast. I need a roaster now.
Yes. And if this is the case, I would say, keep in touch with our salespeople to find out more about the options on the machine, the sizes of the machine, and also what's all coming with it in terms of delivery. So let us please know more precisely what is actually meant by this question, and send an email to the salespeople.
Yeah, and if it's sales, just go for shop @probot.com, and the colleagues will provide you with all information needed.
Yeah.
There is another one. It's not a specific question, but it's a question: is anybody coming to Middle East these days? I don't know if it's meant a training, for example, or an event, or if you need a distributor, for example. So I don't know exactly.
Right now there's no training or service visit or sales visit scheduled, because there's also no exhibition in the near future. Of course, we do have our distributors in the Middle East, so just feel free, shop @probot.com, let us know, and we can make contact. And if you are in a need of a service technician, for example, just let us know as well, and then we can try to organize something.
All right. The last one is more or less a statement. Again, cover settings to keep on using small batches with VFD controls.
Yeah, same of what we already spoke about. So it's depending on how small this batch will be, and then of course the combination of the different frequency converters that we have in relation with the burner setting, and what should be the result. So also here, not that easy to answer, and we might need to have some more input for us to be able to give a more precise answer to this one. So yeah.
All right. That's it from the questions we got in advance.
Wow, that was quite a list that you had there.
Yes.
So there's one question we got from Facebook regarding the temperature from the roaster casing. I assume it's meant how hot does the roaster or the parts of the roaster do get after a certain time of operation.
Okay.
That's
Pretty warm.
Quite warm, but depending on which part of the roaster we are talking about.
Yeah.
So The drum cover, for example, is around 60 to 65, 70 degrees, but the cast iron front wall, of course, because of the fact that the hot air directly goes along the part, we are talking about more than 100 degrees here in this area.
Yeah, so you definitely don't want to touch, and you should know your customers that it's getting warm. Also the cooling tray, when you get the hot roasted coffee out, so the first moments when you're standing too close to the cooling tray, you can really feel that there's actually quite some heat coming from the cooling tray itself, but it's all in quite normal conditions. So when you're standing in front of it, at least you don't have to freeze.
Yeah. Did you get some more questions in Facebook?
Yeah, there's another one. Could you please briefly explain what you have changed in production and materials in comparison with the newest generation of shop roasters and the older ones? Ooh, that's a tough question, because what's the older ones?
Yeah.
So in case that we compare the latest series, so the P Series 3 with the Preheating Series -2, there are some slight modifications, but in fact, burner systems, drives, drums, and all these things are the same. The biggest difference between the -2 series and the P Series 3 is that we now have the bigger touchscreen, we have a new software system. We improved somehow the insulation and the way how the air goes through the system to avoid any heat losses. But in fact, that's it if we are talking about these two types of machines. If we have a look at the older ones, so the Preheating -1 series or even the L series roasters, there are of course a lot of other points which could be mentioned, like atmospheric burner in the past. Now it's a kind of premix burner. No software in the past. Now we have a very sophisticated software system. Older L series roasters didn't feature the separate cyclone. The newer ones do have a separate cyclone as a standard, because we do think that having a separate cyclone is a good approach to have less deposits in the in the chimney, and it makes it easier to keep the system clean compared to the old L series roasters. So these are the biggest.
Material, it's still more or less same material. So sometimes we hear in training classes that people say, "Oh I know somebody having a very old Preheating roaster and the drum is made out of cast iron." No, it's always parts of the drum have been made out of cast iron, and they still are. But as for the rest, and this is probably so, whenever you think that you have something special with your roaster and you might want to know if this is still the case today, also here, let us know more details, and then we can also give you more information to that.
So Richard just added that he was looking for a comparison between Preheating -2 and the P series, and then we are, as I said, mainly talking about the new controls, the new design, and the somehow improved insulation way of the airflow.
And also having now the electrical version again, which was not there before.
Of course,
I got some questions on YouTube in the chat, and Cem is asking if there will be a session about the new software in detail, the readings, which thermocouples is reading what is shown on the screen, and more. And I can already tell you, yes, there will be more focused session, for example, inside of our 1 kilo roaster. So we will have a look into our software, and I think we will also have a look inside the software when we are talking about roaster physics and transferring the recipes and so on. So there will be a more detailed way where we will have a more detailed look into the software and our software solutions.
Also, I don't know, we spoke about this when we launched the P5, I think. I don't know how much in detail that was.
We showed the software to a certain extent in the launch, then in the session afterwards, and when we presented the sample roaster, then we had some screen sharings of the software. But yes, we will cover this again.
And otherwise, if you're looking for something specific, there would also be the possibility to arrange for Teams meeting, and we share the screen, and then we can just go through the different software steps and what can do what, and also talk about what thermocouple actually is measuring what and how can I implement that probably. So this would also be an option.
All right, there is another one. What are the advantages of a Probot versus air roasters? Jason just ordered a P12.3 and he's already excited to get it. So it's very good to hear. He's asking what is the difference or what are the advantages of a Probot versus air roasters because he's saying that what he is reading that people are moving away from drum roasters. That's the question.
Yeah, this is a very good question, a question where we could...
So I don't know how much time you guys do have.
I'm getting all excited to talk.
Because now we are starting the discussion.
A kind of philosophy, right?
Yeah.
Whether today's drum roaster is still a drum roaster, how it used to be in the past, or whether modern drum roasters are more or less air roasters as well. And
so
this
also,
is the case.
Also here, I mean, in our roasters, the main thing to bring energy to the bean is hot air. I mean, that's the main medium that we're using. And so in our case, we could say our drum roaster is actually a hot air roaster because that's what we do. But on the positive side, on the way advantage side is that we're moving mechanically our product no matter how fast you move the air and no matter how hot this air is. So these two things, they are done separately, but of course they work together only in combination. And this is the cool thing about the Probot roaster, that we're using hot air all the time. In the new roaster, please correct me if I'm wrong, it's more than 90% of convection of using hot air stream. Yeah. And of course we do have contact, we still have the hot material, but we try to limit that as much as possible in putting the burner to a lower position and just using hot air, which is actually surrounding all the beans from all around the sides to give you more development and more round, more complex aroma. And I'm already getting all excited.
Just to make it a little bit more complicated, in case that you have a roaster that is equipped with drum speed and fan speed control, you of course do have the option to change the relation convective to conductive heat transfer. So having the drum turn a little bit slower leads to more conductive heat transfer, and the other way around.
All having an impact on the outcome in aroma.
So I just take a note, that's the topic for one of the next pop-up sessions that we can conduct.
But Jason, we can promise you will have a lot of fun with your new P12 roaster. So
yes, definitely, and we're happy to give you more insights on that and share more of the combination thing and of the air thing. So keep in touch, and we're happy that you're happy. Cool.
That's it from the YouTube side.
Okay.
So no further questions in Facebook. LinkedIn? No.
Yeah, I think we answered quite some questions today.
But it's close to 50 minutes.
So if there's more,
as always, in case there are more questions, just send us an email or drop them in the chat. We will check the chat afterwards whether new questions came up, and we will answer them either by mail, in the chat, or in one of the next sessions.
Yeah, and if you want to talk some more, just use all the phone, email, Teams, whatsoever comes in mind to keep in touch, and then we're going to be answering all happily all the other questions as well.
Okay.
Cool.
And then, otherwise, see you in March for non-roast.
Yeah, this will March 17th, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah,
17th
exactly.
March, exactly. Yeah. And this will be a pretty interesting session as well.
Very intense, yes. Thanks for watching our first pop-up in this year, and see you all later.
See you next time.
See you, bye-bye.